Hey everybody, you want to hang out with me for a little while today? You can. I'm going to go to the parts store. I'm going to get some front brake pads for my wife's 2011 Nissan Pathfinder. Yeah, I know it's not a Chevy, but Chevy, ad placement. No, I'm not endorsed by Chevy. Not yet, anyway. But anyway, come hang out with me today. We are going to put the pads on. I'm not going to do a real thorough how-to on this, but if you're looking to replace yours and you'd like to see it done before, hang out with me today. I'm Redneck in a hat. And let's get to the parts store. Let's go. Alright, we are headed to the auto parts store. Check out this old Chevy. That's nice. Look at that. Alright, we're out of the store and headed back home to put these darn brake pads on. See if I can get the box opened up here. Looks like it came with 2 pair of pads and some spring clips right there. Put that in the box so I don't lose them. Alright, we're going to stick these pads on real quick, and I'm not going to do a real thorough how-to on this or anything, but it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy, and like I said, it's just a 2011 Pathfinder. Alright, the things you will need doing these brakes on a 2011 Nissan Pathfinder. Might be handy to have a screwdriver. I usually don't need one, but sometimes you need one just to get the old pads out. Either a box end wrench or a socket, and you want 14 millimeter. You'll need 17 millimeter open end wrench. Need a 21 millimeter socket or a 4-way, something to take your wheel off, but it needs to be 21 millimeter to get the lug nuts off. Need a C-clamp, a pair of rubber gloves. I use some anti-seize on my lug nut threads. It just helps, I think, get them on and off. If it's going to be a while before you take them off again, just helps. Some brake lubricant. A lot of times your brake pads don't come with any, but pick up a tube of brake lubricant. Go ahead and get the tube instead of the little packages, because you can buy this, it'll last you forever. Brake cleaner spray, of course jack stand, and some kind of a jack, whether a floor jack, your tire spare jack that you got in the back of the car, of course brake pads. But anyway, this is what you're gonna need. All right, let's get to it. Oh yeah, you do need a wheel to take off. Alright, first things first, take and pop the hood, find your brake fluid reservoir, and you will notice it will probably be low. As your brake pads wear, your level goes down. So don't add any brake fluid yet, because chances are you probably won't need to add any unless you've got a leak. Because when you put new pads on, it'll push the level back up. That's why you need to take the cap off. You can look on your cap, and it should say whether you need dot 3 or dot 4 brake fluid. Most cars use dot 3. But anyway, take your cap off. Just don't forget to check it when you're done, and put the cap back on. You can put a little weight on your jack, but get your lug nuts loose before you take the wheel off the ground. Okay, we've got to take this caliper off here. Don't have to take the bracket off, but we do have to take the caliper off. That holds your brake pads. There's, on the inside here, there's a bolt here, and then there's a bolt straight down underneath right here. And if you'll see on these bolts, so you know you got the right one, there's a little rubber boot here that bolt goes into a pin that's in that boot. And there's a boot on the bottom one. See this rubber boot, so don't damage that boot. This is where you'll need your 14 millimeter socket or wrench. I use a socket. Once you get them broke loose, they come out pretty easy. Take them out by your fingers. Just lay them over by your lug nuts. Now you can use your screwdriver here to help pull the caliper out. And lay your caliper up on top. If you're going to be replacing your rotors at the same time, take and tie this up with a small rope or zip ties or something. It's got the rubber hose on it, and you don't want it hanging from that rubber hose. It is kind of heavy, but and take your screwdriver and just kind of work. And you got these little wire clips on these Nissans, and it looks like the top clips are missing. This side wasn't bad. The other side, one of the clips would come out, and it was bad. So I'm going ahead and replacing them now. Take my brake cleaner. Just don't spray that in your eyes. Try to clean the little track off here. Okay. I forgot to go ahead and put my rubber gloves on, so I'll go ahead and do that now. I get carried away sometimes. Okay, patient, bend over. This will not hurt. Take a deep breath and relax. You will want a rag or a paper towel. Kind of hold the boot and just kind of pull, and this pin comes out. And we're going to take the rag, wipe all this grease off. Just kind of twist the boot just a little bit just to get it broke loose, and it should just pop right off. And like I said, clean the old grease off. There is a difference on these. The bottom pin has a little rubber sleeve on it. The top pin does not. That's how you can remember which one's which. The bottom one has a rubber sleeve on the bolt. And just watch it, because when you're cleaning, it can come off. And this is why I say just go ahead and get the tube. And coat it back up with some new fresh grease. I don't think you can get too much on here. Bottom one, rubber sleeve. Slide it in, push it all the way in, and kind of turn that rubber boot, and it should pop on. Just make sure it's on. Kind of pull out. The boot should stay on when you pull out. That's how you know it's on. I'm going to put just a little bit of grease right here. This helps your brake pad slide. Try not to get none on your rotor. Or else you're going to have some loose brake pads for a while. On your caliper, rub right here where it's shiny. That's where your pads touch your caliper. Kind of helps with your squeaking. And put a little bit, try not to get it on your rubber boot. box. Gotta get the pin out of here. Now these clips, I'm not for sure exactly what they do, but I believe they just help pull the pads away from the disc when you take your brake off. And just put them back in the way you take them out. Get one, the bottom one started or the top one started, either way. And they go right in these little tracks, little. I put a little bit of grease on the back side of the brake pad. Here's where your C-clamp comes in. I take and use one of the old brake pads, put it in there. Put the C-clamp up here. Push one side in, then push the other side in until you get them both in. And just squeeze them in. They should be pushed in about like that. Now, put your springs in. The two holes in the middle part. And when you put them in, you're going to have to squeeze together the brake pads, because these springs are going to be trying to squeeze them apart on you. Just like that. It'll pull them apart. And then your pin with your rubber boot on it, you'll have to pull it in, and then the bottom one, slide it in where this will, and two holes will line up. And take one of your bolts and stick it in. Start tightening it down, and then do the bottom one. Now there's torque numbers on these bolts, and but I'm kind of redneckish, so I just kind of do it by feel. I've got torque wrenches. I just do it by hand. And there you go. Caliper's back on. Take a little bit of anti-seize. Looks like the dealership used copper colored. Mine is gray. Both works about the same. Just a different brand. You don't need a lot on there either. Just a little bit on the top when you thread the nut on. It'll take it all the way around that bolt. Then you grab these nuts.
These nuts. Got him! Got him!
I've been wanting to say that in a long time. These nuts. Once you get all your nuts on and down kind of tight, then take and let your jack down. Move your jack stand, and then you can let your jack down. Put the weight on the wheel. That way you can tighten the wheel without it turning on you. I'm gonna have to get me another floor jack. Anybody out there want to donate a floor jack to Redneck in a Hat? If you're in the Kansas City Mo area, I'd appreciate it. Now, you can check your master cylinder, and see my fluid level came right back up, right up to the top. Anyway, make sure you put the cap on good and tight, and alright, well, we got the brake pads done on both sides. The other side is just like the side I just showed you. So anyway, it's a 2011 Nissan Pathfinder. We're going to take it for a little spin. Just remember, pump your brakes a few times. Yeah, before you put it in gear, pump down on your brake. Pump it a couple times, push it all the way down to the floor. You gotta get the brake caliper cylinders pushed back out, both of them on both sides. Alright, let's they seem to be working just fine. Going back into the driveway. Anyway, I'm Redneck in a Hat. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit today. Yeah, I got Metallica t-shirt on. I like Metallica. Thanks for watching.